everyone, to episode 92 of Apron Podcast with Chia Boys. I'm your host, Michael Respass, and with me, as always, is your doctor-recommended dose of nerdiness, Carlos Rodriguez, a.k.a. your nerd today. Carlos, how you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. No, I mean, our topic's rough, but I'm excited to do another episode of Paperwork again.
Yeah. This is, if anybody listened to our last one, which if you haven't, you should.
Yeah, you should.
That
Yeah,
one's going back a couple months. This is going back a bit further.
a few decades, yeah.
Yeah, this is a rougher topic too. Even though we know a little bit. Well, we know a lot more of what happened in this situation. It's still not like we know everything, but we know enough.
That's true.
It's not quite like the other one where there's a lot of he said, she said, and we're not exactly sure. This is a lot of she said, and yeah,
For sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're pretty accurate on this one.
So, for those of you who just decided to watch this without reading anything and have absolutely no idea, didn't even see the beginning where it says, we are here to talk about the Mr. McMahon, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, whatever you want to call him, scandal of doing the wonderful, wonderful thing of sexually harassing women, and it's not funny. I was laughing because I said wonderful thing as I was trying to think of a way to lead into this.
Yeah.
Sexually harassing women and paying them off. And as we go down the timeline, we will definitely hit this point, but this is a major point of this. That in itself should be enough for him to have had to retire, but it was not just that. It was that he was also spending WWE money as the hush money, not even money out of his own pocket. So I will let you run down a lot of this, Carlos. I know you have more information in front of you, so you could run down this, and we will discuss this in, I guess, at length. I don't know. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my God. Yeah. So, obviously, as Mike mentioned in the beginning, it's a major content warning. And the title, I mean, you can kind of understand what we're going to talk about if you're a wrestling fan. Skip it if you need to, if it's too much. But I'm gonna kind of read verbatim here the ESPN article I have. This was from July 8th. This is after his retirement. And it does a good job of like summing up a lot of what's been going on over the summer leading up to his retirement. So the report: WWE Vince McMahon paid a total of $12 million to four women to quiet sexual misconduct allegations. Vince McMahon, this is from Mark Raimondi at ESPN. Vince McMahon, World Wrestling Entertainment's longtime leader, allegedly paid out millions in hush money to former female wrestler with whom he had created a coerced sexual relationship and who was allegedly not brought back to WWE after spurning further sexual advances from executive, according to a report published Friday in the Wall Street Journal. McMahon allegedly paid $7.5 million to the former wrestler, who claimed that McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex, demoted her, and then decided not to renew her contract in 2005, after she resisted further sexual encounters with him, per the Journal report. The wrestler and her lawyer reportedly negotiated a non-disclosure agreement with McMahon in 2018. The Journal reported details a total of $12 million allegedly paid out to four women over the last 16 years to quiet allegations of the 76-year-old McMahon's sexual misconduct. Last month, June of this year, the Wall Street Journal reported that WWE board was investigating a secret $3 million payout from McMahon to a former employee, a paralegal, over an alleged affair. In the aftermath of that news, WWE announced McMahon would be stepping away from his duties, as chairman and CEO, replaced in the interim by his daughter Stephanie, though he would maintain his role as head of creative. Sources told ESPN at the time that it was largely an optics play, and McMahon was still running the company alongside WWE president Nick Khan. In a new report Friday, the Journal cited documents and those familiar with the deals that McMahon paid the former wrestler $7.5 million for her silence, In addition, McMahon allegedly sent unsolicited naked photos of himself to a WWE contractor and sexually harassed her on the job, leading to about $1 million non-disclosure settlement in 2008. In 2006, a former WWE manager was paid $1 million to stay silent about McMahon's initiating a sexual relationship with her. The WWE board is continuing its investigation, which also includes allegations that WWE executive John Laurinaitis had a sexual relationship with the same former paralegal involved with the alleged $3 billion payout. Per the journal, Laurinaitis is also being investigated for alleged $1.5 million non-disclosure agreement with an employee claiming sexual misconduct in 2012. Laurinaitis is reportedly currently under administrative leave. That will update. Obviously, this is from July. There's been updates since, so we'll tackle that at the end of the article. A WWE spokesman did not immediately return a request for comment from ESPN. A company spokesman told the Wall Street Journal that WWE is cooperating with the board's investigation, that McMahon's relationship with the paralegal was consensual, and the company is taking the allegations seriously. The WWE board has retained the law firm Simpson Thacher Bartlett LLP to conduct the investigation, which is launched following anonymous emails being sent to directors earlier this year. On June 27th, 2 weeks after the first Wall Street Journal report, New York Magazine ran a story containing interviews from former WWE referee Rita Chatterton and former WWE wrestler Leonard Inz. Oh God, sorry, Leonard. We're gonna we're gonna skip that one, buddy. I'm sorry. Claiming McMahon sexually assaulted Chatterton in 1986. Chatterton had previously made those claims in 1992, but this was the first time they were corroborated by a second source, which that I didn't know growing up, which is really weird. But we were super young back then, so
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it. Like it took me a long time to know about the steroid scandal as well. I'll tell you why I'm hopping on that bandwagon. Said Leonard, who's authorizing a book, Ringmaster Vince McMahon in the Unmaking of America. Wow, that's a title. Damn, that's a good fucking title. There's worse stuff than that. Leonard said McMahon has been in the public view more than usual since the initial journal report, June 15th. One day after it was published, and hours after it was announced that he'd be stepping away from his CEO chairman duties, McMahon showed up on WWE's SmackDown program. God, yeah, I cannot believe this still happened. 3 days later, he appeared on Raw, and last Saturday, McMahon was in attendance at the cage side of UFC 276 at Las Vegas, a rare non-WWE public appearance for the pro wrestler's most influential man. McMahon was at the UFC event sitting next to Stephanie, his daughter, her husband, and fellow executive retired wrestler Paul Lefquist, aka Triple H, Nick Khan, and sports media personality and WWE color commentator Pat McAfee. So, yeah, that is a great summation of what basically happened this summer.
Yeah.
So obviously, what doesn't show here is that Vince McMahon is fully done with WWE. He's officially retired. They John Laurinaitis has been fired. Nick Khan and Stephanie are co-CEOs fully, not an interim. They're fully co-CEOs now of WWE, and Triple H has recovered. He is head of creative, head of booking. I believe that's his official title. It's like head of creative, head of booking.
Yeah,
He also gained a new title like a week into that, and has been promoted like 3 times already.
yeah.
Forgot to mute on that one. Sorry. And that's not even like nepotism. I mean, it was before. Now, honestly, like he's really turned the ship around so much that I agree with the board of directors that Triple H should be granted whatever power he needs. Like at this point, honestly, the man is smart and he's bringing his talents. What we learned and what we said from, and this will be a different episode. That's why I only wanted to touch on this a little bit, but what he's brought from NXT into the main roster and across NXT, like I'm very hopeful for the future of WWE. I mean, hell, we did a watch along for a WWE premium live event. Like that tells you how excited we at Apron Work are for that. But that's a separate episode. Yeah, so he's taken over, Stephanie's taken over, and Nick Khan is taken over. And I mean, at least WWE so far seems like it's actually running like a company and smooth sailing so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doesn't discredit the atrocities, obviously, that Vince McMahon has been alleged to conduct. There's no names, and I don't think we need the names of the wrestlers and anything.
No.
Rita Chatterton, that name came out because of doing research after I found out about this. It was 1992. She publicly stated, I think what we would have been five, like 5 and 6,
Yeah.
so like that. Yeah. So there's no way we would have seen this in the news, but
Yeah.
Chatterton took it upon herself to say something, and then Leonard Inserati or whatever, he um he corroborated the report finally this year. So she's not alone now in her accusations. Um, it's crazy, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's it's nuts. I mean, it's almost like, what's the name? I'm trying to think of who got caught for racketeering. The mobster, was that Al Capone? Or something? They got somebody for like something random, like like not murder, but like they got him
Yeah.
for like gambling in the wrong way or some shit. Like it was like racketeering, and this is kind of what it feels like. Like I think we all kind of assumed Vince McMahon wasn't a great guy.
Right.
Um, Entertainer, great, yeah, obviously. But like, did he seem like an amazing person? Not really. And this is what got him down. And honestly, I have to admit, and this may sound horrible. I just, because of our justice system and how terrible the world is, I was like, oh, I don't think Vince McMahon is gonna step down as CEO. I don't think there's no way he's gonna stay with this company forever. Um, that's not a good thing to think of, obviously. And I wasn't happy about it. I was like, damn, that sucks, man.
No.
Vince McMahon is gonna get away with this one too. Like he probably got away with like a bunch of other horrible shit. Like, and he did it.
Yeah.
He actually worked it. I was like, wow, wow. So
Yeah. I see. Like you said, a lot of like the original news being out in '92. You know, the first big thing. Like, it's not the same as it is today. You know, it's easier to cover a lot of that stuff up. It's not as big in the news, and I know we were young, and I'm sure it was out there. But there's a difference of reading something in a newspaper when the internet's not even like really formed yet, to now that everything's on the internet and comes to you right away, and everybody sees it, and Twitter and all that. The biggest thing, and the point that I made from the beginning, and I think that's weirdly the most embarrassing thing in my mind about all of this, and it's is awful. I'm sure we're only seeing a little drop in the bucket of everything that was done. Is awful, but the fact remains, and this is the truth. If he used his own money, I think he'd still have his hands in the company in some way. And I truly believe that. I truly believe the only reason that they did let him go, or he retired, forced retirement, whatever way you want to look at it, the only real reason he's there is because he's used WWE money. And for those out there who hear that and say, well, it was his company, it's a publicly traded company that he's the CEO of, he was not using his money from the company. He was using company money and pawning it off as payments for other things, hiding it, finding ways, which is a whole other legal issue on top of what he was doing. And that is truly the real reason why he's retired right now. It's insane. It's really insane. I mean, like, we've probably thought for years now that we're just going to wake up one day and he's just going to be dead. Like, the dude's not going to leave until he dies.
Yeah.
And then this came out, and it was like, all right, he's on temporary leave or whatever, whatever they called it at the beginning. And it's like, this is going to blow over. They could say he paid $100 million. This is going to blow over. They're going to wait X amount of time, and he'll be back. Like, he just assumed it was going to happen. And then the moment it said WWE money, he retired. It was like,
that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I was with you though. Like I said, it doesn't make me happy to think that way, but I was like, damn. First of all, our justice system has been horrible. Like, we've seen it in so many different forms of media, actual workplaces, like movies, TV, music industry and stuff. How horrible dudes have been to women, and they just get away with it. They just fucking get away with it, and it's fucking horrible. And I was like, this motherfucker's got all the power and money in the world. like he's just gonna get away with it, and it's just gonna like. I was like, so much so I was like, this might be the fucking straw that breaks the camel's back, dude. Like, I'm gonna have to start watching Impact Wrestling. Like that's that's obviously joking, but like I would never watch Impact Wrestling. No, no, I'm joking. But I thought this was gonna be the thing. I was like, dude, I just can't. Like, I can't. Like, this fucking actual fucking movie villain is gonna get away with this shit. And then, yeah, it actually happened. Like, the tide turned, and there's still like a lot of fucked up things about it. Obviously, I think there's gonna be like one more big thing that WWE needs to do that's like rip the Band-Aid off. And I don't think they need to do it. I think they should not do it, but they're going to, and that would be induct him in the Hall of Fame. They're gonna induct him in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. Like it probably gonna be like 10 years from now.
I was gonna say
20 years from now.
See, and that's honestly, you want to talk about fucked up. That's the most fucked up thing about all this is he retired to salvage his name in the company, and it's so ridiculous because how much more information have we heard since he's retired? I mean, really, how much more new information have we really heard since he retired? It's different when he went on leave. And I know they were done doing their investigating, but I feel like there's a lot more that was unsaid. And they said what they needed to say to justify him retiring. And then, because WWE wants it to go away too. Because a lot of other people would have lost
They're
their
interconnected.
job. Yeah.
Vince McMahon is WWE.
Yeah.
You know, WWE it's Vince McMahon. That's the rough thing about it. Like we are eventually going to get to a point where you don't need to mention him ever again. You know, like he is going to be a thing. He's going to be a specter of the past. I mean, the weird thing was, so when the allegations first came out, and in the ESPN article they talked about it, that first SmackDown, that first Raw after, I cannot believe the fucking balls on this man. I mean, that not even joking. Like the dude literally has like grapefruits, like they used to talk about on in the '90s Attitude Era. Like this dude went on live TV. He was like, "Look how awesome WWE is." Blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, you just got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, money wise, and just horrible human allegation wise. Like you're just like a pit in hell should have just opened up when it was like, hey man, yeah, we know you did this all this. Oh, I'm sorry, it's my turn. I got him. You know, the devil should have came up just be like, my bad.
Can we run down and I know this is worse, but let's run down the Riddle theory.
Yeah,
Guevara. I mean, I'm good. There's just Darby Allin.
Yeah.
That shit got pushed by the wayside when that first came out.
Will Ospreay.
Jay Lethal. Like, think about how many guys been accused of things, and because of their names, it's kind of been forgotten. Like, how he apologized. That was old him. It's okay. But then you have certain other guys that may have lost their job. Who was the one guy from that tag team that just won the titles? Didn't they find out that one of the guys, and I don't even know if it was
Nash Carter?
Yeah, and I don't know for sure if that was even I don't remember what the allegations was, but he lost his job like right away the moment something came out.
But, and it was the Hitler photo.
Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah,
but like that's what I'm saying. Like it's funny, had he been a bigger name, like Velveteen's really the only kind of name that really seemed to lose anything in that whole process of wrestlers being called out, and he was borderline because he already was rubbing people the wrong way anyway. And
speaking out movement, as necessary as it is, and as like it was a good thing, like to and see so many courageous people like speak their truth and stuff like that. I wish it had more of an impact into like society in wrestling, because you're right. I mean, Joey Ryan got like, but shit canned.
Again,
thank God.
And no knock on Joey Ryan, but this is a little knock on Joey Ryan. He's kind of the same. We just went through this latest episode, like Cole Cabana. He's not never going to be the main guy. He's kind of a sideshow. He has his fans. He's funny. Blah blah blah. But like it was easy to cut bait. And really, and that's the most fucked up thing I think of all this, is the only guy that really had anything done to him was the homosexual man who did something to another man during the female Me Too movement of wrestling. Like,
Velveteen's one of the ones who the biggest one. And mind you, I'm happy that I question about Theory all the time.
I know you
Like, yeah,
say it all the time.
yeah. Is he talented? Absolutely. Is he amazing to see in the ring? Absolutely. Is he a piece of shit? Of course. Like, legit. Like, and he still is like on this higher tier. I mean, he was holding Money in the Bank literally this year. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, and then Sammy, yeah, with his comments towards Sasha, and then you have, I mean, Will Ospreay kind of like he didn't physically do anything, which I mean, this doesn't make it even better, but like he like gaslit and like just like ran somebody out of the industry in British wrestling, because their friend did something horrible to this girl allegedly, and they weren't even taking it serious. Um, it's just it's insane. It's insane like how much shit's out there, and then so you're right, like Jay Lethal is still prominent on AEW TV all the time, and it's like,
and that's what like I will be the first to say that there is three sides to every story. There's her side, his side, and probably the truth. It's probably somewhere in between. I don't want to blame somebody or say that somebody didn't have one moment of, drunkenness or stupid, behavior, and people can change. But the fact of the matter is, all those names that we're kind of running down, for the most part, either A, ignored it, or B, basically said they're lying. And I don't know that any of the people that we kind of ran down really like took ownership. Sammy Guevara might be the only one that I felt like took ownership of what he said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, Sammy did. I will say that.
Now how much of that's real, I don't know, and it's not for me to judge. It's not for anybody else to judge. But he might, out of all of them, like I felt like Darby's kind of got swept under the rug, and I feel like there's a huge reason for that, and it's because people love Darby, so they want to sweep it under the rug. It sucks, but it's the truth. He's a huge fan favorite. People didn't want to believe that about Darby Allin. They just didn't. It's easier to believe that about a guy like Austin Theory, who everybody associates with Vince McMahon, and saying, hey, he's not our guy.
Joke when he won the Money in the Bank. I made that joke. I was like, oh, great. I wonder why you're Vince McMahon's hand-picked guy.
Yeah. But like, Guevara, people soured on. So it was easy to attack him, and he actually did apologize. And he did.
He actually had a conversation with Sasha. Sasha went on record. They said they talked.
He got suspended. Like he actually got penalized for something that was probably the least, not to judge what's more, what's worse and everything, but from all the allegations of all these people we said, his was probably the least. The least, really, and he was punished the most. I mean, I think Riddle, if I remember correctly, he spent time off, but they never actually called it a suspension. And he still, I think to this day, swears up and down that, like, the stuff you're seeing now, she's crazy. She's crazy. And maybe she is. But the thing is, where it comes to all this stuff, it comes to a point where it's less about what he viewed it as and more about what she viewed it as. And it gets to a point where you say, hey, I didn't view it that way, but she obviously did. So clearly I was in fault in some way. But you don't get that from any of them. Like I said, Jay Lethal, I felt like almost ignored it. Darby Allin, nobody really pushed him on. So that got ignored. Matt Riddle, I know, had a thing. I don't know. Did Austin Theory really have to like talk about his? Like I
feel like he was off NXT for a bit, right? Because it was like during that NXT, like almost the WWE run.
And maybe that was their way of. I think that's what they tried to do with Riddle. So Riddle didn't have to answer anything, but Riddle kind of went all over social media about it. Velveteen went ham saying that was wrong.
He's still going crazy, like saying shit. Yeah. He's still in the news, like doing crazy stuff. And I remember with Lethal, I feel like it was like during the height of his like ROH run, right? Like when he was like TV and world champ, I think at the
Yeah.
same time. It was like the record breaking like TV title run. Like and like I remember is it Taylor Hendricks, right? I think she was the one who was talking
I
about some of the
believe so.
accusations. They were part of with like Truth Martini and stuff like that was that group. Um yeah, she I mean to this day I mean she mentions it anytime, like on social media. And not it's like she's not like dredging up the past, but she's like, listen, man, this is who this dude is, and he's never been held accountable for it. Um and there's so many people like that out there, man. That's the rough thing. I think I would like to think that the industry in itself is getting better post speaking out, but like it is strange to me though to still see like Theory being pushed the way he is, to see Darby, like you mentioned, being pushed the way he is, and like I just read an article the other day about we're over here both coughing.
Yeah.
It's cold season.
Yeah.
I read a thing about Gigi Dolan in NXT. They what was her name? Priscilla Kelly, right? That was her name in the Indies.
Yeah.
They were married. They're no longer married. But they're like, yeah, we're still good friends and we still stay in contact. I'm like, and I think at the end of the thing, I'm like, oh, is that good for Darby and her? I was like, are we still forgetting like this whole thing? And then Bea Priestley, like, she was accused of like gaslighting alongside Will Ospreay because I think they ran that promotion together, whatever promotion over in England. It's like she distanced herself from Will, but Will, is an amazing talent and is about to wrestle Kenny Omega at the Tokyo Dome for the U.S. title. And
Yeah.
in front of like thousands of fans, like the biggest arena in Tokyo, and
Yeah. That's what.
that's why people. I don't know, man. There are good people out there in professional wrestling. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Like you have CM Punks, you have your Kenny Omegas, you have the Young Bucks, you have your Hangman Pages. People who are like legitimately good ass people that you can see online,
But
and they are what they say they are.
it comes down a lot to just like anything in this world, honestly, it's who you know and who is willing to stick their neck out for you. Because you look at it, we said Velveteen, there's Joey Ryan. It is slipping my he was like a member of not the Elite, but the
Oh, Marty Scurll.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was another guy. He
Mhm.
he's kind of like on that Velveteen tier where he was like getting there. He wasn't
He was
there
head booker
yet.
for ROH.
Yeah, he wasn't like wait, yeah, but wasn't he head booker like after the first allegations came out?
No, no, he was already head booker at that time.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It was
no,
like
it wasn't the other guy at Flip Gordon. Didn't shit come out about him too, right?
I think he's just an
Or was that
anti-vaxxer.
huh?
I think he's just an anti-vaxxer and flat earther.
Oh, okay. No, I know
He's
I
just
know
a dummy.
he kind of got like pushed to the wayside too. I know like Austin Aries did too, because of just a whole lot of other him being Braun.
There's a reason why he was controlling his yeah. Yeah, a lot. That's quiet. He's quiet about that now, isn't he, Braun Strowman? Now that he's got that WWE money.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny.
It's funny though. What happens when you're 6'8" and you're built like Braun Strowman? You can look past all that shit.
Yep, you just look.
But that's that just aims more on this point where it's Marty Scurll would have been brought along had that been able to be kept a little bit more quiet. Had that been able to get pushed aside a little bit like Darby, Marty Scurll would hell if he would have went to AEW originally, I guarantee you he's still in AEW. I guarantee you that they have enough people that kind of push that story to the side. If he was not in ROH when that comes out, just like Sammy, just like Darby, I guarantee you that gets pushed by the wayside. They take him off TV for a little bit, hope you forget, and then they bring him back, and that's exactly what would have happened there. But he didn't benefit from the same thing. Joey Ryan, the same thing. If Joey Ryan had been there already, maybe. I don't know if Joey Ryan would have. Again, it's like the Cole Cabana thing to me. Joey Ryan's like he's a sideshow, act. He's not the main act. Where Marty Scurll would have been built as kind of like that act for them. But it's insane to think just like all this other stuff, that it really depended on where you were, who you knew, and it was great that women were coming out and that people were believing them. The problem was the fans were believing. Well, it depends. It really depends. Are you a fan of Riddle? Okay, well then she's lying. That's wrestling fans
That's
for
what it
you.
felt like, yeah.
That's but for the
I mean, that
most
goes
part,
with movie stars too.
but I felt like people were listening. But when push came to shove, it was like, what are you gonna do about it? I mean, this guy, that was years ago. He could have changed, and now you won't hear about it until the next time it happens, and then it's the same thing. Maybe
That's the hardest thing about the speaking out movement for me, was that like there wasn't any, not too many like situations where people actually got what they deserved out of it, compared to like Me Too in Hollywood and things like that. Like people stopped working with certain people, people were like persona non grata because of Me Too in Hollywood and things like that. But with like wrestling, it was like, well, the dude's like talented. I'm like, yeah, he's talented, man, but he's a piece of shit. Like, what the? Look at these text messages. There's text messages of Theory talking to a little girl. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's rough, man. It's rough. But then, like, with everything, you kind of hope that the industry becomes better. Because I love professional wrestling, man. I do. And professional wrestling should be for everyone, man. Like, and I feel like since speaking out, I feel like stuff has gotten better. But it's easy for me to say it, right? I'm a straight dude. Like, it's easy to be like, I think it's getting better. I mean, as I'm complaining that Theory's on my TV every week and Riddle's right there, and and I'm dying for the day that Seth Rollins mentioned something to Riddle about like this whole thing. Like, because they already mentioned his wife leaving him. I mean, she left your bitch ass and took the kids, didn't she? Like, I did not expect that to be talked about on live TV, But hey, they did it.
See, and that's the funny thing. Now, you mentioned Rollins, and I'm gonna look at it from this perspective. We're expecting justice in a world that uses real life infidelity for storyline purposes, and wrestling world has done it for a long time, and again, it's another thing just gets pushed by the wayside. I mean, Bray Wyatt, I'm fairly certain, is with JoJo because he cheated on his wife, right? Undertaker,
Right, yeah.
Undertaker is with Michelle McCool. I'm pretty sure he was with her before, when he was still with his last wife. I don't even know if that was Sarah. I don't know if he was with multiple, but I'm fairly certain that something like that. Those timelines cross a little bit.
Edge and Lita.
We talked about the Edge Lita.
We just talked about this last week.
Thing. Yeah. Storylines can be made out of it. It gets brought up. It just, yeah. The whole thing, and I know Punk was with AJ Lee, but the whole AJ Lee jumping around to everybody and stuff, I think that ended up being how Punk ended up with AJ Lee when she was jumping around to Kane and Daniel Bryan, that whole crazy psycho.
I think that might have been like a storyline talking about somebody in the back. Yeah, I think they were like talking shit about somebody else.
Yeah,
and they put AJ in that role.
But like it makes reference. They make references to these things, and it gets almost joked about.
Shawn Michaels way back in the day, right? Didn't he have a promo about sunny days are ahead of you, Bret Hart? Because like there was rumors that Bret and Sunny hooked up.
But that's, if they've made light of those type of things, are we really shocked that they're not like, buckling down on this other stuff? Like it just, it's tough because it's the same thing. If you're a female and you're saying, hey, enough's enough, you're probably getting let go. And in all honesty, if you're a male wrestler who's probably pushing for it, they're probably getting let go, because then you're almost becoming a shit stir, which is like a weird thing, to think of. Like, you could lose a push. All these guys are so worried about their spots where you don't want to speak up for somebody because it's hard to. And then instead, you see a guy like Theory keep getting pushed up, and in the background, everybody's probably talking. But it's like, what do you say? You say, hey, this guy doesn't deserve it. And then what are they going to do? They're going to choose some guy who has, it's like Chad Gable going to keep his job if he fights with
Steps
them
up.
over theory. And you're like,
You know what's
hey,
funny to go full circle with this whole conversation? I mean, thinking about the Rita Chatterton, when she spoke out in '92 about Vince, this Leonard Izzardi or whatever, he corroborated the story, but this summer he corroborated the story, like in a New Yorker article, because he's no longer a wrestler. Like he's not in the company anymore. There's almost like nothing for him to lose, and like that's depressing, like to see that. Like it is a rough world we live in. Obviously, I'm not. Everyone kind of knows that. Like we all feel how horrible the world could be sometimes. I miss the days when, like last week's episode, where we were just talking about like egos and Punk and Hangman and all. Be like, you're doing this. You're invading my. This is like my home. You're invading this shit. And like they're just, I'm never gonna work with you. I'm never gonna work with you. Punch, bite. It's like, wow. I'd rather talk about that any day of the week than the actual horrible human atrocities that go on in the world that happen to influx into professional wrestling. That's a rough thing. And then, I mean, look, we're also on the cusp of like Vice. I don't know if you've seen this. I got confirmation today, but Vice has a documentary about Vince coming out in 3 days.
yeah.
Tuesday night, we're gonna see even more stuff come out than what we already seen.
Right. So let's hopefully I'll have this out before then. Just so
You just watch everything. Yeah.
just so it doesn't seem outdated if they put a bunch more shit in there. Yeah. Nah, it's crazy though. I mean, and the funny thing is, it's not. It's prevalent most places. And that's what really sucks about it. When all these things we're talking about, I mean, you think about it in anywhere. Wrestling wants to be considered a sport. Sports is the same thing. You can't complain about the way a coach or somebody treated you because you're still trying to find a spot somewhere else. You get cut for the stupidest fucking reasons, and you can't say, "Hey, this guy was racist." I mean, who was it? The coach that did it for Miami not that long ago, Brian Flores, who was on 2 winning seasons, and they let him go, and he was talking about how they wanted him to lose, and he wasn't, and all this other stupid shit. But like, he's blackballed from the league now. The dude went from like one of the brightest, head coaching, head coaching candidates to fighting for what was right, and not many people will do that. You get more of the Colin Kaepernicks of the world, where I know he did what he did, and I appreciated what he did, but the fact of the matter is, he did it when his career was ending. He didn't do it when he was in the Super Bowl. He did it when he was coming out and throwing 2 for 15 for 30 yards in a whole game. Like he looked awful. Anybody who wants to revisit and say he could still play today, he looked awful, and that's why it was okay for him to do what he did. He wouldn't have cared. Probably the most one right now, although he sounds like Kanye West, is Kyrie Irving, who is willing to put like his career on the line for something. I don't necessarily agree with what he's doing.
You shouldn't.
No. I don't agree. Yeah. Like, there's so many other things he could be fighting against and speaking up on. And for this dude to, like, I mean, he's also a guy that is a flat earther.
God, there's so many dumb people in the world.
So, like, it's just crazy, that it happens anywhere. Wrestling's not the only place this happens in sports. I'm sure it happens in the business world, where we don't care about because we don't know any of these people. But it happens there just as much as it does anywhere else. And it's a shame that it does. And it's the same thing. It's, do I want to lose my job? Do I want to get blackballed? Do I want to be a high executive at a company and worried that they're going to trash my name and say I was an awful employee just because I spoke up against my bosses being awful human beings? And like you said, this is what happens: is you wait until they retire, and they say, "Hey, 27 years ago, this happened." You're like, why
Yeah.
are you saying this now?
Or a
Like,
lot of people get a new job and be like, "Hey, listen,
if you,
it's almost like depending on the situation too. Like with the person, like it's so scary, like for that person, like their livelihoods at stake. Like they may be a good person and like they have a family they have to worry about. They have to pay bills and make sure that their kids are fed, and
man,
then they're like, well, all right, maybe if I leave this place, then I can say something because like I'm not there anymore. They can't like
man,
fire me or whatever.
yeah, and that's if it happened to you, you're a liar. And if it happened to somebody close to you, then you're worried about it affecting you as well in a bad way, and that's usually, if it can affect you, you're the type of person who will speak up. But very rarely is it the person who, like, you won't see Roman Reigns speaking out against some lower level woman on NXT having an issue with another wrestler. You just won't see it. It won't ever happen. It won't. It just won't. I mean, he's in too big of a place, and he just can't do it. You won't see LeBron James doing the shit that Kyrie Irving's doing, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I know he stood out during all the Black Lives Matter stuff and everything like that, but so did a lot of athletes there. And let's be honest here, it gets pushed by the wayside a lot of the times. It's the same exact thing. It's, oh my God, LeBron James is speaking about this again. Oh man, oh why? He's questioning why what was it when they asked him a question recently, and he said, "Why are you asking me about this and not about Jerry Jones?" The whole Jerry
Oh,
Jones thing where
yeah.
he was wasn't it, he was in high school, I think, and he was like he was in one of the white schools that was trying to
Yeah,
keep
there's like photos of like you can see him in the background, like
eh,
trying to stop a black student from walking into the
yeah.
school or
But
whatever.
I forget what they asked LeBron about, and he said, "Why are you asking me about this and not about that?" Which again,
Yeah,
but in all reality, they ask it, but they really don't. People
yeah,
don't.
and
People
then
don't want to
do you
hear
remember?
it.
Yeah,
Like,
do you remember a few years back when they were talking to LeBron about like the Chinese stuff? It was like, hey
yeah.
man, like you see everything that's going on like Hong Kong and stuff. He's like, hey man, we're here to talk about basketball. I was like, now we're talking about basketball,
But that's
but
because
you were like,
it's tough because no, again, the people who want to hear it are the ones that want them to say it, and the people that don't want to hear it are the ones that need to listen. And it's never going to change. It's never going to change. There are certain people most people, you're not going to change their mind on anything. You either have an open mind or you don't. If you don't have an open mind, you're not going to. There's no amount of talking or anything that's going to change anybody's mind on anything. There are people out there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of them that assume every female has lied about their favorite wrestlers. They just
yep,
do. There is no, they could show absolute proof. Darby Allin could come out and say everything you read about me is true, and here is 7 other women I did it to, and in a weird way, I feel like he'd be cheered,
I would not be shocked.
and it's sickening to think
I
about
mean,
it.
look at that first post retirement crowd, right? Stephanie steps out. What's it? Raw? Is it Raw? Right after, and she steps out, and they're like, "Hey, let's give a big cheer to thank you, Vince." And and I was like, "All right, there's gonna be people booing," and then it was like almost like a 10-minute standing ovation at like Cannes Film Festival. I was like, "Thank you, Vince," and I was just like literally text. I think Nick from Entrance Ram. I was like, "Dude, what the fuck is wrong with the world right now? Like, am I in the Twilight Zone?"
He would be cheered if he came back tomorrow. He'd get one of the loudest cheer reactions. I'm telling you, without a doubt. If he showed up on Monday, unannounced, and just walked out, his music played, it would rival Bray Wyatt and CM Punk. Like it would
Isn't
just
that crazy?
rival it.
Like, yeah, there's so many people that like still like would I still like love him like that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, am I glad Vince McMahon made professional wrestling as big as it is? I am, yeah, because I love professional wrestling and like it's cool to see people talk about professional wrestling and stuff like that. Does that mean that he's not a bad person? No, he's still a bad person. Like I'm not like it could stop at like, hey, thanks for like making this thing big. Okay, like, I'm not shaking your hand. You're a piece of shit. I just you know
Yeah.
just thanks for
I,
Shawn
I
Michaels. I
I
guess I don't
I
know.
acknowledge what he did for the wrestling business, but nah, I'll pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like yeah, I look. I understand how important you are, but no.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just like a weird time. I mean, I'm really glad he's gone. Like I did
Yeah.
never thought I would see the day. Like to circle back. Like I honestly never thought I'd see the day where he would be gone. But he's gone and it's time to move over. And I think like I said earlier, like I think the last like band-aid they'll like WWE's gonna have to rip. And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in our lifetimes. Vince McMahon is gonna get in the WWE Hall of Fame. It's gonna be rough. They're gonna make a big thing about it. There's gonna be a lot of negative press. And then once that's done, like that's it, right? He's done. There's no more Vince McMahon. That's it. We're done. You really don't think so? Because I think like
No.
they need to get past it, and I can't.
They
And it's
they
like I don't want them to put him in the Hall of Fame. I just know that they will. So why not just get it out of the way and then just move on to the next era, whatever WWE is.
there is only one person that will never really truly get acknowledged by them again, and that's Chris Benoit. Nobody. It does not matter. It will not matter. His appearance, his voice will be used for things from now until the end of time. It just there will be a Vince McMahon. He will die, and there will be a tournament yearly in his name. Absolutely, positively, it just will happen. It might not be the Warrior Award anymore. It might be the Vincent Kennedy McMahon Award.
Yeah, I
I'm
would not be
telling you.
surprised.
Think about all the shit that's coming about a lot of these other guys. I mean, this is not a knock on a guy like Eddie Guerrero, but like a lot of shit gets pushed by the wayside when you remember the good things about them. You don't remember any of the bad. It's the whole thing with the drugs and steroid abuse and anybody doing shit. Macho Man. Think about all the stories you've heard from him from his past. He's still viewed as like a lovable, underrated, should be in the hall of, should be the top of the echelon, should have had world championships more than Hogan kind of person. Ric Flair, the shit that we found out about him is not new news. It just, we all got to see it. Ric Flair's always been a guy that took his character one step too far, and it's been known since I've known it since I was a kid. Like, this shit's not new. It's not new. But yet, guess what? Dark Side of the Ring came on. Ric Flair went by the wayside for a little bit. And then he had a last match that people, and he's now has a podcast and people
Yeah.
want to see him come
So
back everywhere because it
yeah,
just takes
he's got his
this
strain
much.
of weed now. Like
You
yeah,
just need a little bit of time to go by. A little bit of time. Vince might need a little bit more, and it might not even be because of our attention spans. It might be because WWE itself feels disrespected by him. If he doesn't go in the Hall of Fame for a while, it's going to be because they feel disrespected and not because they feel like people will cheer. Because people will cheer if they put him in the Hall of Fame this year. He would come out to cheers, to a standing ovation. He could have as long of a speech he wants at the end, and they would cheer him. They would cheer him at both nights of WrestleMania when he comes walking out. They just would. And it's a shame, but I'm telling you, in March, I'm not saying 10 years from now, I'm saying in March, if they put him in the Hall of Fame, he'd get cheered.
I sadly agree.
He
I
absolutely would.
sadly agree. I mean that like I said, that post Raw, I was like, the people were gonna boo Stephanie, right? And then like that was my whole French group. Like we were like, people were gonna boo Stephanie for like trying to cheer her dad, and it was like, no, people are cheering. There's like a standing ovation. Like I cannot believe what I'm watching.
I guess they lucked out that he used WWE's money, because if the dude just paid himself more and used that money, if he legit just found ways to pay himself more and used his own personal money on this, he would be back running the company right now. He would have had like a 30-day suspension, a little slap on the wrist. They would have waited for that to kind of get, passed over. That whole thing at the beginning where they said, I know it's Triple H running it and Nick Khan, but really it's Vince McMahon behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. He would have come back. They would have made a storyline out of it. The whole thing they did before with, it just would have became a storyline and people would have forgotten about it. It would have been written off as another WWE storyline. And that's
sadly
the shame of it, is that the dude can do whatever the fuck he wants to pay off women and sexually harass them. But damn it, you spend a publicly traded company's money in the wrong way, your career's over.
No, I mean, again, it shows like the gall he had going on that SmackDown Raw post like those articles come out. Like it shows that he would have, like he would have. He had no issues. He was like, "Oh, I can do whatever I want." Like it shows, like the power went to his head. Like similar to Vince, similar to Rick. Like he thinks he's that character now.
Yeah, you lie to yourself for so long, you become that person. There is nothing that anybody could say to Vince McMahon, the person, to make him not believe that he is one of the most influential people in the world. Like, he believes it. He is it because he believes it. And the fact of the matter is, we as people respect that attitude instead of calling him a crazy asshole, because there is no difference between Vince McMahon and the crazy guy in the corner who thinks he's a chicken asking me for money. There's no difference except for the fact that he owns a company and that guy's just asking me for money. I believe that this guy believes that he's a chicken and he needs money for his nest. I'm pretty sure he's convinced it, and I don't even know if he's taking drugs. I think he's just thought of it that's long. He's believed it, and that's Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon believes he can be untouched, and I think deep down he believes he'll be back in some way. And I would
100%.
not be shocked if he's back, not as a CEO, but in what's the stupid bullshit they do to get ex players and all that, a consulting role.
Oh,
He'll be, or a consultant, or what was Iverson with the Sixers too? It's the ambassador, brand ambassador. He will be a brand ambassador who's making more money than he was making as a CEO in a couple years, if he doesn't die first.
same. Listen, Punk wasn't wrong on that pipe bomb. I think apparently he just wasn't right about like Triple H being inept and Stephanie being inept. It's actually pretty good. It's been pretty good so far.
Yeah. Nah, it's sad. We used to like joke about Vince McMahon dying, and then you'd feel like a little bit bad. But you're like, from an entertainment value, I want you to die because I know you're not going to retire. And I can't watch this. This is awful.
Yeah,
I can't
really
watch the bullshit that
yeah.
you think is entertaining, because you have not found anything entertaining since WCW existed, because your idea of entertainment is awful. So stop making me watch what you think is good, because it's bad. And everybody believes it. That's why you keep firing people. The only people that tell you they believe it are the ones that are still with you. I just want you to die for that reason. And think about this. I want somebody who I don't know to just die.
Yeah, to just perish. Yeah.
Like, we've been
Like, please
begging
stop.
for it in the worst possible way. I feel no guilt to that anymore. But now I want him to die for completely different reasons, because over time he will become something again with this company. And we can go back to this episode where I could say, "Told you
Yeah.
so, told you so," and I swear to God, they induct him into the Hall of Fame in Philadelphia, he'll get hit with batteries.
Will it be me? Who knows? Who's to say?
I will bring my children, and we will have snowballs pre-made and batteries.
Yeah, yeah.
And he will get hit with everything, and I will tell everybody about the time me and my children hit Vince McMahon with snowballs.
Deck him right in the face. That, that would make sense. That would be like the most like yin and yang thing for me. Like, hey, WrestleMania is finally back in Philadelphia. Like, you never thought it would be. Hey, you're going to WrestleMania. Guess who's getting inducted in the Hall of Fame for your year? Who? Vince McMahon. Go fuck yourself, man.
You get a one last match, Ric Flair against Vince McMahon in the main event.
Yeah. Jesus, who's the worst perv?
Austin Theory's the referee.
Guest referee. Yeah. Velveteen Dream's the timekeeper. Joey Ryan's a ref. Another ref. Jesus God.
Oh man.
What a horrible fucking world we live in.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
At
least the next couple episodes are going to be a little bit happier.
It's funny. I'll pull back the curtain here a little bit on Apron work in our discussions. We wanted to do 2 episodes this week because it's a lot of been me, honestly, dragging my feet on getting us back. And
I've been sick.
Yeah,
like
and
crazy.
then it was like you went on vacation one week, and then I had shit going on. It just was back and forth, and I could have, honestly, it's because I work overnight. My schedule is way worse than Carlos's, and I did not push enough to try to get recording. But we found 2 days this week to kind of do it, and I wanted to do the Punk thing. I felt like that more shit's been coming out, and I said, "What else you want to do?" And I was going to talk about ROH, which is funny because ROH final
battle's today.
is today.
Yeah. It's like in 2 hours.
So
am I wrong?
Yeah.
Like early
I'm
shit,
going
right?
to sleep at this. I'm going to sleep right through it. So
is most of AEW.
So Carlos said he wants to talk about Vince McMahon, and I asked right away, excuse me, that are we going to talk about Triple H too? Because we should focus on them as 2 different things. He said no, and I'm thinking this is a half an hour at best. Honestly, I've been I truly have been thinking all the way up to this, like, how much can we actually pull out of this? And the fact that we've been talking about this for almost an hour, is an hour too much of publicity that this needs. But
Yeah.
the thing we're getting at is the most is when I can tell you all, everybody, the world, and when I say the world, I mean the 35 to 40 people that might download this or watch this on YouTube. You heard it here first. Vince McMahon will be back in the company in some fashion. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. It'll happen because our attention spans are very short, and we are forgiving people if I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, I just
I don't know why. But
I don't know why we forgive the wrong people. I don't know. That's
the scary thing is that I'm worried that it will happen. Like you mentioned, like I really am worried that this is what's gonna happen.
I am exaggerating a bit and saying it's going to happen in March. I do think they're going to wait some time, but I do think that has a lot more to do with the people in WWE being pissed and USA and Fox being pissed. I think people associated the sponsors being pissed that he was spending money, like fucking what are people called? Investors being pissed. Because that's what this is all about. This is not about people being upset. Unfortunately, it's not about the women that he paid off. This is about investors and the company and them being mad that he used their money. Plain and simple. That's all this is about. And that's the worst part about it is, now think about that. Anybody else gets in trouble for just that, right?
Mm.
Take out all the rest of it. Do you believe that if Vince McMahon got forced retired because of spending money on anything else, I don't care what it is, to build XFL, right?
Mm.
And he gets forced to retire, you assume he's back at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
After some time blows over, after the investors are not as upset, the sponsors are not as upset, they bring him back in some way, shape, or form. Because that's all this is. And that's the thing that sucks. This will never be held up as Vince McMahon paid off women, he disrespects women. He will be back, and he'll probably be back in some really shady storyline with a female wrestler because they'll make light of it. Because that's what the wrestling world is.
And that's the scary thing too, is that it's a real possibility. Like, it's a real, like, non-jokey possibility that they will ever do something like this.
Can you not just picture Vince McMahon coming out and
with shitting and grin?
Like
100%.
Hold on, Vince McMahon coming out after what's the female referee, Jessica
Carr, yeah,
Jessica Carr, yeah. She does something to help, like, Austin Theory win, and then Vince McMahon comes out and pays her off, and she walks out, and it's that really, really low-hanging fruit of Vince McMahon paying off a woman to not say anything or some shit. Like, tell me that is Vince McMahon humor. That is WWE in a box. That is absolutely going to happen if he does not die first.
Yeah, and listen, I want to be wrong. I want you to be wrong. You know, like, I never want to see him on TV again. But, like, I'm so afraid that he has such a high standing that, like, it's gonna happen.
The only thing we could hope for is that he enjoys retirement that much that he just doesn't want to get back into it. I honestly think, outside of him, like, dying soon, let's say we don't wish death on anybody, let's hope that he just loses the urge. He gets excited to watch his grandkids and be away from it. Maybe he won't want it back.
I've always questioned, like, there should be, like, some island where, like, bad people just go and just, like, listen, obviously we can't shoot you in the face because that's fucked up, right? Society wise, apparently, allegedly he's bad, but why don't you just go live your life over here, and we never hear from you again? You basically, you live right next to J.K. Rowling. It's fine. Thanks for giving me WWF. Yeah.
On that island, he can go run GCW.
No, see, GCW actually gives a shit about women.
But he could just go buy it. Like, I don't want to ever see GCW again. I don't want to ever see Vince McMahon again. They could just, Joey Ryan could be his champion. You know, he could go sign Austin Theory. Austin Theory and Nick Gage could fight for the title for the next 27 years with Vince McMahon.
No, but see, I like Nick Gage. He's a nice man. He'll murder you, but, like, he's a nice man. Like, Nick Gage is for the people.
Yeah, GCW's awful.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
It's awful in so many ways. The fact that people see, if anything shows you that people will cheer for Vince McMahon, it is the cult following of GCW. GCW is not ECW. It's not Impact. It's not ROH. It's not anything. GCW is utter garbage. That's what GCW is.
I don't know if you just get a full circle. Like, I'm coming back. I told you motherfuckers before. I'll say it again.
There you go. For all you that agreed with me on Vince McMahon, I fully expect some anger over the GCW stuff. So because unfortunately, like we said before, there's flat earthers out there, and apparently they all watch GCW. I'm sorry, I just don't get the appeal. I don't get it.
No, I get you. I'm pretty sure Flip Gordon has been on GCW, by the way. Yep. Yep. No, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that makes sense. All right.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
We're going to go to the GCW show one day, and they're gonna just beat the fuck out of us.
I can't. I hope they come to Philly during WrestleMania.
I'm just gonna run to Effie and catch. Like, I like you guys. That I'm not associated with it.
Oh man, you know what? That is a wonderful way, I would say, to wind this episode down.
Yeah, with a really lighthearted joke.
Yes.
Because this episode's been heavy.
Yes. Fuck Vince McMahon and
fuck Vince McMahon.
and GCW.
You know, again,
yeah,
we love Bussy up here.
All right. Well, since it'll already be done, enjoy watching Final Battle, because most likely you'll be like us and watching it way after it actually aired. Because 4 o'clock on a Saturday is probably like the peak time that I want to watch wrestling. So I'm sure everybody else.
It's nice that you do have the rest of your night. I mean, that's a good thing about it. But also, NXT's on tonight.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I'm going to read results and watch a replay of the dog collar match. That's about the extent of what they're getting.
Yeah, honestly, that's the only good match.
Yeah. So
I agree.
And
also, vote on my poll. I put a poll up.
Yeah, that's coming soon. This whole ROH mess is coming soon. That's what I wanted to attack today. See, GCW got my wrath. I want to attack ROH, and that's coming soon. And
that's what we're gonna do from now. We're gonna do like happy news, sad news, happy news, sad news.
I really hope that, and I don't know why I keep doing boxes now for those of you watching on YouTube, but I'm tired. I worked last night and I have not slept yet. I will say this. I really hope Jericho wins. I hope that Claudio has to be a member of the JAS and has to be a sports entertainer, because if that happens, we are getting way more ROH and AEW, and man, has AEW been shitty. All right, that's about where I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to get fully into it. We will talk about it more. We made a comment on it last episode, and that's I just let's go Jericho, because man, yeah. So, you got anything else to say about Vince McMahon or Austin Theory, or your boy who got hurt? Did Logan Paul?
Oh, fuck him.
We haven't talked about him yet.
Yeah, I was like,
we've literally just torn apart everybody else
so much. I just try to not think about him.
Logan Paul,
but no, fuck everyone, man. Yeah. Fuck all those bad people. Fuck bad people.
Yeah, but this whole Chris Benoit, we just threw everybody out there. All those people on that island, Kyrie Irving, they're just out there.
Fuck them. Fuck these terrible people. Yeah. Again, I'd rather talk about people with big ass egos that are like acting like babies. Because guess what? CM Punk, actually a good human being. Fucking Colt Cabana, actually a good human being. Hangman Page, actually a good human being. The Young Bucks, good Christian boys. Kenny Omega, actually a good human being. They just have egos and they're acting like babies right now. Yeah. And I will take that any day of the week.
I prefer an egomaniac asshole that's a good person deep down than they think their shit don't stink for other reasons.
Yeah, because I'm the best wrestler, not because I have a lot of money. I can do anything the fuck I want.
Yeah.
So fuck all the bad people. Yay, all the happy people, good people. Believe victims. And
believe all of them. But yeah. So, on that note, we will see you when we see it.